Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for July 29th through August 4th, 2019. So let's just take a moment to take a deep breath and to set an intention of really aligning with our inner truth and our inner wisdom as we focus through love to apply this to the lessons that our soul is processing in this week. And they are showing me a tent, and this is sort of a new vision I've been seeing lately. It has, and its symbolic meaning for me. It's about going within and for a place of refuge, for you to connect, for you to align and center and ground, to sort of be, it's like you're going, it's like being in nature, but at the same time having this thin layer of enclosure for you to be aware, to develop your more, with the right word, organize. So to have more awareness, to organize your thoughts and your priorities. And so just take a deep breath and really relax and rest into this sacred space within your heart. And they're asking you to allow yourself to go as deep as you can into this sacred space within your heart. To just rest in the frequency of your well-being. To know that there are possibilities available to you, that there are options. You're going within for clarity. They have been also showing me this repeated symbol when I see a bow. It means rewards and opportunities. And though this time period has been a bit challenging, there are rewards that you will soon encounter for availing yourself, for letting go of the resistance. And if you've been really pushing and really struggling against this, eventually you realize that you had to let go, that you just had to, it's one of those things that you can't fix, but you have to allow the process to unfold. And when you do this, you have more clarity, you have more sense of your abilities. And I don't know, there's this word they keep writing like can't, where like things are in the negative. And so you may have found that, you were feeling limited, that you've been sort of nursing ideas of what you can't do, what's not happening for you, what you're lacking. But these beliefs create an experience. It shapes the way you perceive your life and perceive yourself. And so if you've been feeling stuck, pay attention. This is why you need to go within and pay attention to the dialogue or your own internal monologue, really. And like, what are you saying? What is it, that you're saying? And notice that you don't feel good. I mean, that's the whole point. And we really don't get it because we think because we don't feel good that things aren't good. But things are always good. But when you think in opposition to your truth, which is what the negative feedback and feeling God awful is all about, it's letting you know that you're not supposed to feel this way. It's letting you know that your thoughts, these opposing ideas, are creating the challenges for you. And when you get stuck in them, it's because you believe. And this is something that your soul cannot allow you, because it's not real, it's not true. And your soul can only affirm your truth. And when you think thoughts that go against what your soul is, then you are going to feel God awful. Because it's not who you are in the least tiniest bit. So again, use this feedback as a moment of enlightenment. Aha. Oh, I see. I need to check my internal beliefs. I need to call them up into question. I need to immediately, as soon as I am able, take any little tiny steps to counteract. These are the words that don't feel quite right, but the idea is that you need to begin giving yourself first a pat on the back for not taking that information as a personal attack, but recognizing that you are not on the right course in what you're believing and thinking, for recognizing that there is a bigger picture, a greater picture than the one that you are able to see in this moment. And it doesn't matter that you don't know what that picture is, but that you recognize that there is one because of what you're feeling in terms of feeling God awful. Because it's in that moment when you don't take it personally, but you take it as a moment of clarification, that big picture becomes possible for you to perceive. In that moment, hope is born. In that moment, abundance. They're showing me a mushroom just shooting up from the earth. Abundance is born. These moments when we feel God awful are basically an opportunity to help us in our manifestation process. This is a moment of clarification, confusion. That is a feedback. They just wrote that word out for a moment of clarification. Because Don't go into the confusion. Don't try to figure it out. Just take it as a moment of clarification. When you feel confused, you go, oops, that's my sign. I'm engaging, perceiving against the natural order of my well-being. And that's the time for you to go into your tent, to your sacred space, and to discern the wisdom. Don't struggle for discernment. Let it come to you. In that time that you need to give it, to allow to come to you, in that time, if you just focus on the intention of being clear, and that may be feeling clear, it may mean that you may need to sort of ramp up your energy in terms of your physical well-being, maybe eating a diet or, maybe water or particular foods that just refresh your system, that refreshes your mind, that refreshes your emotions. It may be exercise. It may be sitting out in nature. It may be taking a break. It may be, sitting with your crystal. It may be, being around plants inside your home, taking care of them. It may be some passion, the word they're writing out right now. Maybe painting or dancing or singing or listening to music or performing music. It's a lot of things that could offer you this refresh. And being aware that you're confused or unhappy is a way to alert you to change the course of your actions in order to change the course of your path. So really take the time to breathe right now, to call in your angels. And feel your heart just set ablaze with a glow of brilliant energy. Just calling on your angels can refresh your frequency, refresh your heart, as they speak through you, through your heart. They move, inspire your heart. This is the core of your spirit, your God center. And so when your heart is open in this three-dimensional world, you have the force of love behind you. The world is imperfect, but that's not the thing to criticize the world or each other for. That's the thing to appreciate in the world and in one another, because these imperfections are tools for our own enlightenment, for the soul and the greater universe. This experiment of the three dimension within the context of the entire expansion of universes upon universes, this three-dimensional experiment of contrast, of duality, not being able to always in a state of reconciling and finding balance and harmony, but always in the process of reconciling, these opposing ideas. This experiment of imperfection, the imperfection calls us to our individual purpose of perfection. And without the imperfection, there would be no cause. So don't go around beating yourself up and blaming other people and judging other people for being imperfect, for being so imperfect that you may even call them sinners in your tone, or you may call them evil in your harsh misconception of what's going on, who they truly are at the core, because each and every one of us, no matter what they've done, is still the divine, an individuation of the divine. But all of us are imperfect, and we could sit here and go, to what degree? But that does not matter. Because whatever that imperfection is, it causes you to think and to start to desire a purpose to create a balance to what that is. And when we do that, and when we work towards that instead of working against that, we bring the energy of love, that specific idea of love, into the context of this struggle to reconcile. And we bring sort of the wholeness. So it's like we have these dueling forces, but when we strive through love, we basically bring this energy of wholeness, which encompasses both, but in a balanced and harmonious way. I don't know if you can see or get a sense of what I'm talking about, but that love encapsulates those two opposing ideas and holds them forever in balance. Now, it is up to you and I to behold that balance, to behold that wholeness. That's the key. And so really, has anything in this universe ever been broken except when we choose to be in the state of love or fear, and then seeing things and perceiving things as separate, broken, lacking, etc. Broken and lacking, etc. So maybe back this all up and understand that's like that yin yang symbol where the dark and the light is within one another and in a whole state. This is wholeness. But it's our judgment when we come out of fear that we see this as some kind of imperfection, some kind of something that we need to rally against, to fix, when if we were coming through love from that compassionate voice, from that place of acceptance, we would not see it as broken but whole, and understand that every idea is not meant for us. Does that mean that just because it's not something that we need or would like, it does not mean that it is inaccurate or that it's wrong. And maybe we could really get along with each other and work around each other in certain cases. Sometimes we don't need to work with, but we just need to work around or work on opposite ends of the globe or opposite ends of the room. And respect. Just respect. And as you put this energy of respect in there, you start to just attract towards each other because you have respect, and in that respect, love opens portals into hearts. And if there is something that is truly not in alignment with the well-being of the universe, it will release all on its own, but without our judgment. Okay, so let's take a look at the card, the Archangel Oracle card for the week, and we're using Riley Valentine and formerly Doreen Virtue's Angel Tarot deck. So let's turn this over. All right, Archangel Metatron. And Archangel Metatron is really a very important archangel who is really leading us in terms of our ascension process. And he is when I often see him, I see him with, the circle glasses and sort of a plume in his hand, sort of like it gives me the sense of this person who's very organized and I wouldn't say serious, but just very focused and able and ready to assist and get things done and move along and really look at things, very compassionate, to look at things in a very clear way, and to and not any way judgmental. And so this is a card about priorities and is really directing us to prioritize our, and this is about being clear. Just having a conversation. There are a lot of things that can really just sort of come and interfere. But when you're clear, this is what it really means to focus. So, for instance, if someone has this intimidating, like maybe it's a boss or someone you're working with, and they, you feel like you're caught in this trap where you just don't know, all of a sudden it's like, your throat closes up and they're telling you to do this and you don't want to do that, and it's something you shouldn't, but you just can't get it out. And it's because in that moment they catch you off guard. And people can do that because you haven't set the tone for yourself. You're not being clear. Your intention is not clear. The things that you can do and the things that you cannot do. You and I own this power that I think I mentioned last week of yes and no. These are powers of our free will. And it doesn't matter what circumstances somebody throws at you. It doesn't matter how catastrophic something appears in the moment. You still have these powers. You don't have to try to go back and figure out how to get out of something, but just choose from where you are. It doesn't matter all the steps before. Right now, what's the best choice? And it boils down to knowing what in this moment, no matter what that circumstance is, what do I say yes to and what is an absolute no. And so in order to be able to do this, you have to be clear. You have to be clear about what that yes And that no is in this moment for the circumstances that are unfolding and that have occurred. What is your yes and what is your no? If you're in an interview and it's about the job offer itself, what is your clear yes? What is it in this negotiation process that you will accept if you're offered something, and what is the no? And you have to be clear about what that is within yourself. Because when that person is sort of, and they're not intentionally intimidating you, but they seem intimidating only because they have a clear yes and a no for what they are going to be able to do. And they have maybe a range of things that they may say yes to, and they have the clear, they have the clear boundaries of what is no. And so as people are talking to you, don't get so crazed by what they're doing to you because you think they're doing, because they can't do anything to you because you have to give permission. But what you should be thinking about is saying, okay, all right, what are my priorities here? Do this inside of your head. What's my yes and what's my no here? As you're listening, and let them talk. Don't try to interrupt them. Don't try to, defend yourself. Let it just roll along and come up with your yes and your no. Sometimes this may not involve somebody else. You just may be all by yourself in the moment, and you're dealing with something, and something is upsetting you, and maybe you're working on something that's not working out, and you have that opportunity to yes and no. Get clear about if you feel like something's not going right, and you're starting to feel confused. Say to yourself, okay, stop. What is my yes and what is my no? How far am I going to let this go on this way? It's like the thing they're giving me an idea of, what if you were sitting there and, you noticed that, oh, this is the perfect idea, but, the toilet, because sometimes all of a sudden you get a sense, wait a minute, this thing's about to overflow, right? And in that moment, you're like, what do I do? What do I do? You have to get clear. How are you going to handle this? How far are you going to let this go before you do something? What's your yes and your no? Focus. When you're clear, you know that you need to do X, Y, Z. You can think of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. If this starts to do, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's don't just go let the panic and the overwhelm you. And you start, oh my God, focus. So these priorities go for, there's a wide range of opportunities throughout every heartbeat of our life that we need to be clear. And only you can do this. And as you begin to put this into practice, it becomes very easy to be clear. And you will find that being clear, you don't have to worry about people who use aggression as a tool of intimidation, because they do not know how to really tap into this strength, this power of love. But the power of love, if you really want to exercise it appropriately, you have to be good at getting clear in a pinch. And this is the force behind being able to focus. If you don't have clarity, if you are unable to be clear, you cannot focus. And if you cannot focus, you cannot realize your dreams. You cannot recognize your priorities, which then creates the fuzz of not being able to realize your potential or any of your goals or dreams. All right. So let's take a look at Let me just see if I can create some space here so that card can be there. All right, so when you need somebody to help you, this is who you call on, Archangel Metatron, to help you to be clear with your higher self, to know what your higher goals are. And it's interesting that this card, when I just said that, this is the trigger for me about this card now, the Six of Fire, which is the Six of Wands. This is about goals, okay? This is about the priorities and setting high priorities for your goals. To this, this is the start of the week of really being clear. Okay, when you're clear, you're on that path to success. So if you were to ask yourself, how could I be successful in what I'm doing today? Then ask yourself, what are the ways that I can be clear? Now, we're sort of the Mercury retrograde, and which I think ends the 31st, and so it's been a tumble. It's been really interesting, and especially about communication, and so this card may be reminding you to be very clear, to make sure, don't make assumptions that people are following you, that people are behind you 100%, but to make sure that you have their support, or that they are following you, or that they understand you, that they see what you're trying to do. Make sure, be clear, and be very clear about what it is that you want from them, and in terms of the support. Be clear about it. What is your your boundaries, or what is the range that you're negotiating within in terms of your yes and your no? Be clear about that. Okay, it's just really important to. I just get a sense that this card, in the context of this energy, this is about being clear about your goals, and making sure that you have communicated clearly with others, that you, in order to, number one, gain support, to make sure that people understand where you're coming from, that they recognize, or helping you to recognize that dream or that goal. And so you need to make sure that they are on board. A little bit of a different twist for this, but when you're reading cards, you have to read them in the context of the energy that you are perceiving, and that's flowing in the moment. That's why all of these 78 keys are infinite. Infinite doorways, into the range. So it's like each one of these cards has an infinite spectrum based on its key ideas. All right, so here we have the Six of Water, and this is telling me right now about reverting, into those inner child, those wounds, and that we tend to, when we're not clear, this is what happens. It's like you revert back to, you kind of go back to your default, and what we really want to do is get rid of those defaults by being clear, by using your power to really be convicted about your yes and your no, to know why you're yes and why you're no on certain things. And then when you have this kind of clarity and just conviction about something, then this becomes your default. You don't fall all the way back to insecurities from the past. And you don't let people talk you into things that you don't want to do. You don't let people distract you. You don't allow yourself to not be committed to something that you're trying to get done. Because when you're not clear, you attract a lot of confusion. Simple as ABC. All right, so let's take a look at the card for the weekend, and I'm glad to see this card here, because when I thought of the tent, I really thought of the High Priestess. And that's that same idea, okay, that going within, entering that sacred space of your heart. The oracle, that tool of discernment, is within your heart. It is your heart. The oracle is love. I almost want to say a little hallelujah there. That's the oracle that we're all trying to find. The oracle is love. And it's so interesting, and I was just telling someone, if I'm angry with a person and I'm raring to take back my power, and that for me, no matter what I've been thinking or stewing on, brooding about, when I get in front of that person, the love opens up. And I just feel so safe in that moment, because that love reminds me that that's who I really am, and that's how I want to handle things. And it doesn't mean that I'm talking, it doesn't sound angelic, just to put it that way, like everything is beautiful coming out of my mouth. But I'm clear. I don't hurt. I don't humiliate, but I'm clear. And I have conviction. And that's what love is. Love is not, this namby-pamby weakness that everybody... Love is the real power. It's the real stuff. It's the real stock. And when love opens up in your heart, and you allow it, and you don't allow... because you have this intention of always wanting to be at your best, and to be what you truly are, that will automatically open up for you. And the words that I feel and the connections, see, that's the thing I feel right away. Connections. I feel the connections to them and myself, that understanding, the piece of understanding opens up. And I speak to my truth. I speak to what I'm clear about. And that's why it's always good to listen instead of arguing with people, even though there's a disagreement. But the key component to awaken this power of love is to listen. Don't be anxious to defend and to set the record straight. Wait, listen to this person in their entirety. And as you're listening, that love in the universe will cue you in to ideas where the misunderstanding can be repaired, and where you and they need to be clear. And that is how you heal with the strength of love. That is how that swoops in, and that oracle speaks through you, if you will. All right? All right, so looking at this for the week, you need to be clear about your goals so that you don't fall back into old emotions, to those defaults from the wounds of the inner child, but you revert to your strength and your power. In order to do this, you have to seek to love. You have to seek to understand. And you have to want to seek peace. Or to seek to be peaceful. To seek, be clear about what you want to accomplish and how you want to accomplish it, and then be clear about the boundaries. So if you want to do this through love, then no matter what, you're not going to interrupt. No matter what, you're not going to use tactics of intimidation like yelling and threatening, etc. Do you know what I mean? Be clear. And do not betray your heart by accepting something that you, in your heart, it does not resonate. It's not about it being unacceptable, but it's just that it doesn't resonate as true, as your truth. You're not rejecting an offer, you're rejecting people. You are honoring your truth. See, you're not fighting against. You're working towards. All right, so let's take a look at the card I've already pulled from the bottom of the deck, and see, this is the energy. So this is like traditionally the Judgment card, right? And this is a card titled Renewal. And so it's so interesting that it's about review and evaluate, a favorable assessment of the facts. This is what we were just talking about, time to move in a new direction. So this card, when I see usually the bodies sort of arising from their coffins, you really think about you're stepping into a new life, that you've put away all that which wasn't functional. You know, it's the same thing. The idea is that you see these spirits arising, and what the body was for that world, and it doesn't carry to the next because it has no function. The function of the three-dimensional cannot function in that realm. And it's so in our lives that as much as we have attachments to things, but it comes a time when you have to say, is this really deserving of who I am becoming? And if not, then I have to release it in order to really be the potential that is now where I am. To be able to realize that potential of where I am, I need to let go. And so it is, in that sense, that moment, just like we were talking about before, if I can remember, it just flipped in. But when we were talking earlier, oh gosh, it went out of my mind, because these things are all just channeled to me and I'm saying it for the first time. But when you listen at the beginning, if I'm not going to remember, but what we were talking about in the beginning, but it was that same idea of I can almost feel it, what it was that we were talking at the main point at the beginning. About being clear. All right, I can't remember, so I'll have to let it go. But it's very important that we just recognize that when we are in a stage of moving forward, and that we have to relinquish those things and move into this new energy. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and I thank you for joining me. If you would like an angel reading, feel free to contact me at theangelschool.com, which you can find on the description link below, as well as joining us for the daily messages on Facebook, which you can find that link as well, the daily card messages, where we go a little bit deeper into the week and the energy of the week. So, God bless you all. Remember to be clear and to focus through the power of love. All right? Have a good week.